Welcome back to Beyond Awareness. If you listened to Tuesday's episode, this journaling episode is for you because on Tuesday we talked about sweetness and how being called sweet can feel like a compliment and it can feel like a gut punch at the same time. And so today we are digging into the beliefs underneath the label of being called sweet itself, because I want to talk about it. Even as I was recording that episode, I was like, there's something here. And I journaled on it afterwards about why being called sweet stung so much in the past, even up until recently, even though I knew it was meant as a compliment. And we all know it's meant as a compliment most times. And so before we get into the actual prompts, I want to share something personal with you because I think it'll help you see where we're going today with the journaling prompts and just set the stage. So my ex's family used to call me Sweet Sam. I mentioned in Tuesday's episode, I used to have people in my life that called me Sweet Sam. That's who it was. And I knew that they meant it kindly, but every time they said that, they called me that, something inside of me cringed a little. Like I hated that nickname. And it took until recently to understand why that cringe happened. And it was because when I was journaling through it and reflecting on the moments that they specifically were calling me Sweet Sam, I realized that I was quiet in those moments, or I was agreeable. And likely, like a lot of the time, I just didn't have a lot to say and I wasn't speaking up. And I think that sweet felt less of a compliment and more of like a mirror almost, reflecting back how small I felt inside. Like sweet was like what I wasn't doing or what I wasn't saying. And I don't think that they meant it like that. But again, sweet was always said during one of those times where I wasn't saying anything or where I was just like, yeah, and just, agreeable. But it also followed me into work. Like when I was working at General Electric, my bosses loved me and my coworkers loved me. My bosses called me nice. And honestly, I think they did call me sweet and kind, a good team player. And maybe it was because I was like younger when I was there, but it was never like Sam is a great leader. Sam is bold. Sam is decisive. It was never that. And I even won the Unsung Hero Award on my college cheerleading team, which is basically the trophy for quiet leader. It's like the person who leads from the back almost. And at the time, I remember thinking, is that good? Like, is that what I want to be? The one that nobody sees? I mean, they see me, but I'm not loud. I'm not the hero. That year, I actually was voted to be the captain, but then my roommate was upset that she wasn't voted captain. And so it was taken away from me. It was crazy. Man, I should journal on that. But anyways, the thing is that I was doing bold things, right? On the cheerleading team, at work, I was doing bold things. I was decisive. I earned a huge bonus at GE one year. And they trusted me enough to send me to Asia solo for 2 weeks to manage their clients. And I was doing the work. I just wasn't doing it loudly. And sweet felt like proof that the quiet version of bold didn't count. And then recently, I challenged someone on a call. This was what the Tuesday episode was about. And I asked her the hard questions. I pushed back on some of her systems. And afterwards, the feedback was, Sam is so sweet, which blew my mind. I literally sat there as I received this feedback and was like, what? And that's when I realized sweet wasn't the problem. It was my relationship to the word and what I'd attached to it and what I'd decided it meant about me, what I decided that sweet, being sweet meant. And so that is what we're digging into today, not whether or not sweetness is good or bad, but what it means to you and where that meaning came from and whether it's actually true or not. The prompts are in the show notes as always. So if you want to save this episode and come back to it, or if you want to come back and do them again because they're pretty deep, then yes, go ahead and save the episode. But for now, go grab your journal or open Google Docs, even the notes or journal app on your phone, and let's dive in. Prompt number 1. When someone says that you are sweet, how does it land? What are the good connotations that you feel and the ones that rub you the wrong way? Write down both sides. Prompt 2. When you think about those negative connotations, the ones that rub you the wrong way, where did that come from? Who labeled sweetness in that way, or what was the tone or the situation, the moment that made you attach that meaning to the word? And it might help you to pick one or a few specific situations where you were called sweet and relive it for a moment. Prompt 3. Now get curious with me for a second. Were those people actually saying those things about you? Or was the word sweet holding up a mirror to something that you already felt about yourself internally? Were they defining you, or were they accidentally highlighting an insecurity that you were already carrying? Prompt 4. What proof do you have that the negative version isn't the whole truth? That your sweetness also means the opposite of those things? Where have you been bold, decisive, direct, or powerful, or whatever words showed up for you in your mirror, even if it was quietly? Write down all of your proof and brag about yourself here. Prompt 5. This is all about what you want sweetness to mean for you. So finish the sentence. I want sweet to mean that I am, and I want my sweetness to be perceived as. Prompt 6. As you look back at prompt 5, are you already living that? And if yes, do a little happy dance and celebrate it. And if not, what is one small thing that you can do to close that gap? Not a big overhaul or changing your personality, but just one small thing this week, or maybe even today. Amazing job. For me, I wanted my sweetness to mean that I'm kind, that I'm caring, and direct. And I also wanted my sweetness to mean that I know what I want and I'm unapologetic about asking for it. And when looking at that, I already know that I'm kind and caring and direct. So that was what I was celebrating and finding more proof of in my life, of times when I'm showcasing all three of those things. But where I want to grow is knowing what I want clearly enough that I can ask for it out loud. So my one thing was simple. It's before I fall asleep. And I mean, like, literally, lights are off. I'm taking a few deep breaths to try and fall asleep. I'm spending those minutes thinking about what I actually want and small things like for my day. What do I want tomorrow to look like? How do I want my conversations to go? How do I want to feel in conversations that I might have tomorrow? How do I want my relationships to feel? How do I want to feel in my relationship and in my business? Because I know that you can't ask for what you haven't named yet, for what you haven't visualized. And so that is what I'm doing to get more clear about what it is that I want so that I can ask for it and be unapologetic for it. And so that is your entry. Congratulations. And notice what came up for you, especially in prompt 3. That's usually where the real meat of it lives. I'm proud of you for doing this work. I truly am. If you did this journaling episode specifically, like out of all of the episodes that I share with you on Thursdays, we are cut from the same cloth. And I would love to hear what came up for you. So connect with me at any of the links in the show notes or email me directly at hello@samantha-says.com and follow the podcast if you don't already so that you can tune in next Tuesday. All right, I will see you then. Thanks for listening to Beyond Awareness, the podcast where we close the gap between knowing and doing. If you're ready to heal what's holding you back from success, start with my free Calm Mind Blueprint at www.samanthapenkoff.com/calm-mind. It's a 5-day strategic journaling practice with prompts and voice guidance from me. And if you want to go deeper, book a 90-minute breakthrough intensive. Links for both are in the show notes, and if you know someone who would benefit from this episode, I would be so grateful if you shared it with them so that they can make decisions from clarity instead of drowning in overwhelm. I will see you next time.